Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm going to show you how to take data from Cloud Functions and pass it into PubSub. If you want to jump ahead, here are the timestamps. We're going to work in reverse. First, we're going to set up the PubSub environment. Then we're going to create the Cloud Function itself. It'll be an HTTP function, so we can call it from curl or a web browser. And then we're going to quickly write a Python script to test out our function and all of our code. So the first thing I'm going to do is just type in PubSub and go to Cloud PubSub. Right now the API is being enabled on my project, and I'll create a topic. For all of my projects, this is about garden automation, and I'll add a default subscription and I'll create topic. Sometimes the subscription fails, and if it does, just come over to subscriptions and you'll create a subscription. I'll call it the same thing, -sub for subscription, and all the other settings are the same, and you'll just click create. So we'll leave this page here. We're going to come back to PubSub, and now in a duplicated tab, I'm going to search for Cloud Function. Now the Cloud Function API is getting ready. Okay, it's enabled. We can absolutely create our functions right here, and we will use the HTTP trigger. But what I'm going to do is I will create this from my computer. Okay, so when creating a Cloud Function, we need two files, requirements.txt, and all we need to do is have Google Cloud PubSub listed, and then main.py. So the first thing I'll do is I'll import all the libraries I need. I need to bring in PubSub v1, and if you don't have that on your computer, all you need to do is type pip install google-cloud-pubsub. The next thing we want to do is get access to the PubSub library so that our Cloud Function is able to write to PubSub. Inside of the os.getEnvironment, we have to put the project we're in. So to tell what project you're in, we'll go back to the command line and type gcloud-config get-value project. And I'm in the wrong project, so to list all of the projects, I'll type gcloud projects list. Now I have my garden automation project, and I'll set that as my active one. So that's gcloud config set project, and then the name of your project. In our code, I'll add in the name of the project, garden automation. And now to write the function, it can be any name you want. I'll have mine called garden readings, and we're going to pull in request. That's because the Cloud Function is going to use Flask. And since we're passing everything into our Cloud Function in data, we're going to check if it's empty, and if it is, return 400. If data is not empty, we'll log it, and then we'll do a JSON extraction. We'll get all of the information out. I'm going to just pass in three things. So the sensor name, where everything comes from, the temperature and the humidity. And then again for logging, I'll just print them all out, and everything else in our code is going to take the data and push it to PubSub. So now all we have to do is choose the topic path in PubSub. So I'll come back to the browser, to our PubSub tab, and I'll click on the topic where it says topic name. I'll copy that and I'll paste that into topic path. Now in PubSub, I'm choosing to push everything into an attribute for reading. You can have any attribute name you want, but the way that I'm writing this JSON object, PubSub is going to extract everything automatically for me. So I'm taking the sensor, temperature, humidity, and I'm pushing it straight into PubSub. We need to do a byte encoding. And finally, we're going to take the PubSub publisher, publish to the topic path we created, and we're going to pass the data as the encoded bytes. PubSub returns what's called a future. If it works, it's the ID of the PubSub message. And when this works, we just give it message 200. Now to upload this function, it's gcloud functions deploy, then the name of the function you created. So for me, garden readings, --runtime, Python 3.9, --trigger -http, --allow unauthenticated. And this will take about 2 minutes, but the very first time that you upload, it's going to fail. Okay, when it fails, it's going to give a path. Copy that path, bring it over to your browser. That path brings us over to Cloud Build API. That's the one final API we need to enable. And this is what builds all of our Cloud Functions. Okay, with that enabled, I'm just going to rerun the exact same command, and in about 2 minutes, it'll work. Okay, I'm going to go back to my Cloud Functions tab, and now I can see on the main page, I have the garden readings function. I can click it, and I'll go to trigger. Trigger is the path that we'll go to with a curl command to be able to invoke it. Okay, now we know what the path is. I will copy it. Now I'll go back over to our code. I'll make one more script called sendMessage.py. So in the URL, I've just used this trigger function, and I'm going to send some sensor information. So I'll send the sensor name, temperature, and humidity, which is exactly what we were pulling out in the Cloud Function itself. I'll pass in data and headers. We'll post that message. So I'll run python sendMessage.py. We get a response 200. On Cloud Functions, I can go over to logs. Logs are delayed by about 10 seconds. And there we go. I see my sensor name, the temperature, the humidity. I can go over to PubSub. Back on the main page, I'll choose the topic we created, choose view messages, and then I'll click on the subscription we created, and then I'll click pull. And there we have it. Cloud Functions have passed the data over to PubSub, and we see the full message body, but as we scroll to the side, we can see that it automatically pulled out all of the JSON data we passed in. So I hope that helps. Thank you very much.